So, picture this. You've got to teach quantum physics to someone who absolutely hates math. I mean, their eyes literally glaze over the second an equation hits the whiteboard. It is kind of the ultimate challenge in science communication, right? We're trying to take a subject that's incredibly abstract, deeply complex, and just famously counterintuitive. I mean, Schrödinger's cat, anyone? And make it relatable, without expecting everyone to have a PhD in theoretical physics.
Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're digging into a seriously fascinating new paper called From Understanding to Resonance, a case study of quantum music and embodied science communication. This was put together by researchers Noda, Koga, Heisler, and Hashimoto, and they're looking at exactly how we can bridge that massive gap between hardcore science and the general public. And their secret weapon? It's completely unexpected. We're talking about music and immersive art.
Section 1. The Science Communication Challenge, Bridging the Gap.
Because, the crucial starting point here is a psychological barrier. Highly abstract scientific fields are usually perceived as distant, highly technical, or just downright inaccessible. Even for us science enthusiasts, hearing the phrase quantum physics usually conjures up images of dense, terrifying equations and, Greek letters you haven't seen since a college frat party. Traditional science communicators have been fighting this uphill battle for decades, mainly because leading with the math? Yeah, that can completely shut down someone's curiosity before it even has a chance to spark.
Section 2. Immersive art meets quantum physics. The experiment.
So, during the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology, these researchers decided to try something radical. They focused on two very specific global initiatives that became the case studies for this paper. We have Quantum Fest in Japan and Quantum 100 in Germany. Now, these are not your typical dry, dimly lit university lectures. No way. These were vibrant, energetic events where art and science directly collided in real time, which made them the absolute perfect testing ground for this new way of communicating.
And get this, over 4,000. That is the massive combined participant turnout at these two events. More than 4,000 people actually showed up, voluntarily, to engage with quantum physics. I mean, that's enough people to pack out a mid-sized concert venue. It really just proves that when you tweak the delivery method, you can draw crowds at a massive scale. For the scientific community, that's a huge, albeit unconventional, success.
But how do you get 4,000 people excited about a quantum physics event? Well, you ditch the standard chalkboard lectures. Instead, they offered alternative entry points. They brought in music, visual art, and what they call embodied participation. Basically, they built these highly immersive artistic experiences to hook people in. The goal wasn't about forcing rote memorization. It was about inviting people to literally step inside an experience and feel it.
Section 3. 3 Dimensions of Resonance. Unpacking the data.
Now, the researchers didn't just throw this artsy science party and call it a day. They went to work. They gathered a ton of data through post-event surveys, analyzing participant comments, conducting stakeholder interviews, the whole shebang. And from all that data, they pinpointed 3 distinct dimensions of what they call resonance. We've got sensory immersion, collective embodied meaning-making, and emerging transformative engagement. Let's break down how each of these layers builds on the last.
First up, sensory immersion. This is all about engaging the senses to basically lower the psychological drawbridge, reducing those barriers around complex science. By using music and visual art, the organizers completely bypass the audience's initial dread of technical subjects. Think about it. You aren't exactly sweating over a pop quiz if you're just standing there absorbing a beautiful piece of music that happens to be inspired by quantum mechanics, right? That sensory hook just gets people in the door, making them feel relaxed and open.
Next, we slide into collective embodied meaning-making. This means forming a shared physical connection to the experience as a group. Let's be honest, studying high-level science can feel super isolating. It's usually just you alone at a desk trying to decode a giant textbook. But at Quantum Fest and Quantum 100, the learning was entirely collective. Experiencing and participating in the art together as a physical community created this powerful shared meaning. It really grounded the abstract science in human connection.
And that brings us to transformative engagement. This is the emerging state where that initial, fun artistic connection actually evolves into genuine scientific interest. And honestly, this is the holy grail of the whole explainer, right? The fact that a sensory hook and a group vibe actually translate into real curiosity about the physics itself. People who showed up just for some cool visual art or a free concert walked away actively asking questions about quantum states and mechanics. It's brilliant.
Section 4.
beyond conceptual understanding. The paradigm shift.
The biggest takeaway here, the real so what of all this, is the stark contrast between how we used to do things and this new frontier. Traditional explanation-centered approaches are hyper-focused on forcing people to understand the hard facts, the formulas, the rigid definitions. But these resonance-driven approaches, they totally flip the script by letting people feel the concepts first. It's a massive paradigm shift for science communication. We are officially moving from merely explaining to actively resonating.
And the core conclusion of the paper hits the nail on the head. They state that this approach is enabling audiences to form meaningful relationships with science before, alongside, or beyond conceptual understanding. Just let that simmer for a second. You can actually build a meaningful, resonant relationship with quantum physics before you even fully grasp the mechanics of it. Actually, scratch that. You don't even have to understand the math at all to appreciate it. That is so empowering for everyday learners.
So that leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to ponder. If we can literally feel quantum physics before we conceptually understand it, what other mysteries of the universe could art unlock for us? I mean, if a piece of music can teach us about quantum mechanics, just imagine the incredible, totally barrier-free ways we might explore our reality in the future. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep staying curious.